Okay, so I'm back at Detour Coffee and back with Emma. Thank you again for joining us. And we're going to be talking about an espresso maker this time around. So this is the Breville Barista Express, and Emma's going to show me the proper way of using it because I mentioned earlier I have an automatic machine with pods and I want to get a better coffee experience with, and I want to make fancy coffee and I want to know all about that. So you're going to tell me about that today.
Okay. So basically this is a scaled down version of any commercial espresso machine. Everything is just the same as you'd get on a commercial espresso machine.
And I want to ask you, before we start actually, the coffee. Yeah. Is it the same blend of coffee you'd be using for a drip machine?
So it can be. Today we're using Punch Buggy, which is an espresso blend. Basically what that means is that it's roasted to have a little bit more body and a little bit less acidity.
Okay.
So espresso really pulls flavors forward. So anything that with any tartness in espresso will be, that's all you're going to taste. So typically I would choose mellower coffees to use in an espresso machine and slightly longer or hotter roasts. So slightly darker coffees generally are better, but I've had really awesome shots of all different coffees and different roasts. So it's possible to do it well anyway. Okay. But this is designed for espresso, so that's a good starting point.
Yeah. So Punch Buggy.
So this is called Punch Buggy. I roasted this coffee. So this machine uses a commercial size filter basket. So what that means is that it's a nice big 18-gram basket size. You really want to avoid any espresso machine that's got a smaller basket than this.
Because it won't be strong enough?
Yeah, you're not going to be able to use enough coffee, so it's going to end up being really watery, really over-extracted.
Okay.
You also want to look for an espresso machine that can get up to about 9 bars of pressure, which you can see on here. You're actually able to. Okay. So a lot of home machines have trouble getting up to the pressure that you would need to get a traditional espresso. So if you don't have that pressure, the water just kind of pours through like a filter coffee, and you end up with a really like big, pale, watery shot on the other end.
Yeah. Well, that's not good.
Yes. So for today, we're going to use the manual button. I'm a barista, so I want to be in control of everything. Yep.
And the water tank. So it's pretty much measuring the water for you, right? Like that, the amount of water you can't control in this machine, or can you?
You can.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to choose when to start and when to stop.
Okay.
Shots.
Okay.
Yeah. The water tank, just for reference, is up here, and there's a nice little readout down here that tells you how full it is. Okay. So you never want to run an espresso machine on an empty boiler. Right. It can be dangerous. It can overheat itself.
Okay, so let's make a standard, and you were talking about the grind size, actually. We should talk about that. Yeah. So you were talking about the grind of espresso is super fine compared to a drip coffee.
Yes.
Okay, and a little bit of why that's so.
So espresso is an extremely fast brew. So we're going to run these shots you know, less than a minute long, basically. Okay. So in order to get as much flavor and extraction and strength out of the coffee as we want in that short a time, we need to go as fine as possible on the grind. Okay. Because that means there's tons of surface area and lots of pressure for the water to flow through. Okay. So
what, do you remember the number you used?
Number 19.
19. And well, just to compare, right? Just so people have like a. So the last when we did the drip coffee in the other video, what was the grind size?
So we were at 45.
45.
So this we might change a little bit. We might go up or down depending on how the shots taste. Okay. But anywhere in this espresso region is going to work.
Oh, and it tells you there.
So you want to always start with a clean, dry basket. This fits in there. I'm just going to hit start. At this point, if I was to pack it down, you can see there's kind of some empty spots and some full spots. Yeah. So you'd want to distribute that coffee. Okay. You can get tools to do this. You can also just use your hands. So you've probably seen people do this at cafes. Yeah. Basically, the idea is we don't want to compress any of the coffee with like more than the rest, right? Yeah. So if I was to push down that huge mound, the water would have more trouble getting through that spot.
Right, because it's just more saturated. Okay, that makes sense.
So now that that's nicely distributed, I didn't lose anything pushing it around, I'm going to tamp it. So Baristas do this a lot in the day, so it's really important that you have good ergonomics.
Okay.
You don't want to hurt your wrist. So basically what you do is, I'm going to get in your space a little bit.
Yeah.
So you put it on the edge of the counter. You want to make sure your arm is totally straight, so no wrist bending.
Yeah.
And then elbow will be right above the coffee bed. So I'm going to be just pushing it straight down like that. And that's all you need.
Okay.
Nice little push until it resists. You don't have to go too crazy tamping coffee.
Okay.
Purging a little bit of water through. So the idea there is you want this to stay at a stable temperature so that it's the same every time.
Yeah.
And you also just want it to be clean. So purge a little bit of water through, and then we're going to lock it in. So just enough to make sure that it's fully sealed. There we go. That was it. This is just an espresso.
Oh yeah. So with lattes, you're doing the same, an espresso shot.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do the frothing of the milk later, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So there is no perfect temperature for latte. You just want a nice froth on your milk and consistently warm throughout, obviously.
So as you're heating this milk, the sugars are cooking, and it will get to a point where the sugars will cook off.
Okay.
And you start to get a bit of a like burned rubber smell and flavor.
Okay.
So some people actually like that flavor. It's like weirdly good. So
is that like the double hot? Is that what double hot means?
Yeah.
Okay. I never knew what that meant. Like, why are people asking you?
Yeah. So the thing to remember about that is that people are holding it in their hands.
Yeah.
So you don't want to burn people or yourself.
Yeah.
So usually I would recommend that you heat milk to below 160 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay.
That's usually where like you can comfortably touch it for about a second, but not much longer than that.
Yeah.
As it gets hotter, it gets less sweet. So if you're getting extra hot lattes, you might want to put sugar in it because you've actually cooked away all the natural sugars in milk.
Right.
Especially if you're getting really nice milk, really like heavy fat, like grain-fed milk.
Yeah.
You're basically cooking all that away.
Okay.
Right?
And that's not good.
Yeah.
And so what type of milk are you using here? Is this
This is a 3% milk.
So that's homo, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I use it.
High fat tastes better.
Yes.
We're going to purge this before and after every time. Just making sure that no milk gets sucked up into the wand, right?
Yeah.
So home machines have a lot of trouble getting up to the same pressure as commercial machines. All that means is that you often have to steam a lot longer.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, we're going to submerge the steam wand in the milk, and I'll turn it on, and then I'm going to lower this pitcher so that the tip of this is just below the surface of the milk.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to tilt this on an angle to create kind of a vortex.
Oh, okay.
So what's happening is basically I'm folding air in. So if it's too deep, we're not going to get any air added. This is steam, right? So it's not going to hurt you. Just don't go right up to the top.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right?
It's not super hot.
Yeah. As soon as it hits the air, it starts to cool down.
Yeah.
So it's going to be heating at the same time as it's folding in air.
Okay.
So I'm going to be lowering the pitcher very slowly to keep this in the same spot in the milk.
So you can create that motion. Okay.
Yeah. So once we're ready, I'm just going to sink it below the surface. I'm turning it on. And we want that gentle kind of tearing paper hissing sound. And we want the milk to be spinning around like this.
It's like a little tornado in your cup.
So once I've got the volume I want, I can just sink it below the surface to heat it the rest of the way.
Okay. So volume in terms of like the frothiness.
The actual, amount. And now I'm just checking to make sure I can get that 160 degrees-ish. I'll turn it off when I'm ready. Always wipe it before.
Or else it gets all like cakey.
Yep. And
whatever
then
that is, residue.
Purge it after.
Yeah.
So once you purge it, it's getting really hot suddenly, so you don't want to bake the milk on it.
Yeah.
So we have this nice glossy,
Oh, okay, so you can feel it, but it won't burn you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice glossy. It shouldn't be bumpy anywhere. Milk foam.
Cool.
Yeah. So this has been waiting patiently for us.
Yeah, you want to do this quicker, obviously,
yes.
but we're learning here, so.
Yeah. So
show us your best latte art skills.
I'll do a heart.
Okay.
So basically, I'm just gonna come to this side and pull through that way.
You know what's funny? I've seen them do that, and it looks so easy. But
yeah. You can try next.
Yeah, but you've done this a few times.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So one of the big things here is not to press down.
Okay.
So the easiest way for me to do that is to just make sure my finger's touching both sides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
So you make sure that there isn't any coffee sitting around when you lock it in. You just don't want to put coffee up in there.
Right.
And then we'll purge it first.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So hit manual once, let a little water drip through, and then hit it again.
Okay.
Awesome.
Make sure we're thinking right.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's it. You don't have to go
Too much?
crazy on
Okay,
it.
yeah, because then it'll never come out.
As long as it's got a seal. Yeah.
Okay. And we're using this cup?
Yeah.
Okay. And it's already set.
Sometimes you see people talk about single and double shots.
Yeah.
And all that is they're splitting this in half. So they would be pouring out of one spigot instead of two.
Oh.
So a lot of cappuccinos that are in that smaller, like 5-ounce size, will just be a single shot like this. I like the taste of coffee, so I use doubles most of the time.
I see.
Yeah.
So a standard though, like if I'm just going into a coffee shop and ordering, it's single.
It would likely be doubles at this point.
Yeah, because I've never seen just them
Yeah.
just use one. Okay.
The one shot is a more like traditional style of coffee that you see less and less as cup sizes get bigger.
Right.
People use more coffee.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So it's going to pre-infuse a little bit.
Okay.
Get ready to stop it soon. So now, there we go.
Right to the fullest, yeah.
Yep. And now using your other hand, you can guide it, and we're gonna pull down until you get.
You want to hear
little
that?
noise.
Okay.
Yeah. And you'll notice that the milk is rising.
Yeah.
And very slowly.
It happens really fast.
Pull it down. Yeah. So we're almost to the top.
I can feel it's getting hotter. And now we're just, and now we're warming up the rest of the milk.
Yeah, and keep it spinning just by keeping the angle, and then you can turn it off when you're ready.
Yeah, I can feel it's hot now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. So, first things first, we'll
and then you
purge
said,
it.
yeah, and then we do that.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay.
So if your milk has any big bubbles like that, knock it a few times on the counter.
Oh, gone.
Give it a little swirl. Basically what you want to do is, for the first part of the pour, you want it to sink below the surface. So you don't want to go too violently at it.
Okay.
Because you don't want that crema to all break apart.
Right.
But you don't want to go so soft that it just sits at the top. So this takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
So
this is not going to be pretty.
I might adjust your hands a little bit.
Okay.
But don't overthink it, just pour it. There, see how it's sinking? Mm-hmm. Now when you want the art to show up, you just tilt this hand forward. See?
Oh. And
then when you want to cut it through, come up and pull.
Like not bad.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like a bum.
Yeah. It's a beautiful butt.
My coffee is amazing. I love that.
So what happens when you have that art on the top, all it means is that that espresso flavor is going to be there in the first part of the drink.
Right.
It's not going to be all milk.
Right.
So that first sip will have a nice combination of like the bitter coffee and the sweet milk.
Okay. And so what is the difference between latte and cappuccino? So, because I personally like, the only thing that I found different was that the milk was frothier. Like I found you could eat it with a spoon for a cappuccino, but latte you can't. It's more of a thinner.
A lot of times the texture is different for cappuccino, and a lot of time cappuccino has less milk.
Okay.
So the ratio, like the amount of coffee to milk, will be a little higher.
Different. Okay.
For cappuccino, lattes tend to be,
Taller.
in a bigger cup,
Yeah,
right? So it would have the same amount of espresso.
Okay.
Just way more milk.
And
that milk will tend to be milkier, for lack of a better word, less air in it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
What is the best for froth actually? Like what percentage?
So typically the more protein there is in milk, the better froth it will have.
Okay.
So it kind of depends on where your milk's coming from, what diet the cows have.
Okay.
And then you get better flavor out of high-fat milks.
Okay.
So if you have a nice balance of a high protein and a high-fat milk, that's kind of the best option.
And what about like milk alternatives like how about like lactose-free milk? Will it still froth?
I find, yeah, I've had lots of good luck with lactose-free milk. It's not as reliable.
Okay.
So lactose is a sugar. So what we're steaming with is protein. So again, depending on the type of milk, it's perfectly fine to steam.
And how about almond milk? Or soy milk? Or
probably not steamed. Soy actually works well. Again, you want to look for high protein soy milks.
Okay.
A lot of times they'll do like blends for steaming. They might add something to add a little bit more body to it.
That's
not always necessary.
Yeah.
I've had good luck with soy either way.
But for almond milk, you're saying it's not going to froth?
Not likely. Like you get a little bit out of it, but it's not going to be. It's just not the same. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for showing me this and all your information and your time. So this is the Breville Barista Express, and this is Emma from Detour Coffee, and we're just going to end it here. Thank you so much for joining me, and subscribe below if you really like this video, and hopefully we'll do more. Maybe I'll hook up with you again. We'll do something about latte or something.
Yeah, you can make some more.
Yeah, because I did this, but I want to get better at that. So
yeah.
Maybe that'll be the next video. Comment below and let me know what else you want to see, and maybe we'll hook up with Emma again and we'll do some more stuff. See you later.